So I was going to talk about how I'm about to go and do stand-up.
Oh,
for the
shit,
first
yeah.
time
All right.
Yeah.
ever. And just kind of the whole experience and journey of that, and like working through like writing material, like obsessively writing material for hours and hours, and then going over it and then like cannibalizing it, and like how the process has been for me, because I'll get on these like veins, right, where I can just expand on all these like tangents, right, and branch off, and then I gotta like go through it and revise it, and and then I kept trying to do jokes like I don't do fucking jokes like that. You know what
It
I'm
kind of
saying?
felt like you were trying to ask questions, but like forcing the answer as you ask the question.
This is entirely a segue, but the next Stoned Ape Theory setup we do, I'm getting us a couch and having microphones hang from the ceiling. Because clearly if there's anything in front of us, it's just, I watched you try to like thread the needle between your hand and instead of threading the needle, just going...
Oh, yeah.
no,
I'm
but
a professional.
But no, you're not, because the way you, like, how I would put it is you're a very funny person to talk to and be around, just generally. And so it's translating that into a stage environment is the hard part there, because it's not set up like set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline.
And then I was trying to
necessarily
do that, and like that's just not genuine to me. That's not how I fucking
roll.
right. Like I would take advantage of a situation. You know what I'm saying? Where now, if I can create the situation and bring up a premise, right, and that allows me to then, expand and go on tangents. So what I have is like my little keywords, right? And then I got little bullet points on that, because I have to go into it like with some room. I can't have like a strict, you know what I'm saying?
Script.
Yeah. And I was trying to like write it out like a script and fucking gestures and all this shit, and really just you saw me for weeks and weeks. I was like obsessing. I was recording. I was going back through.
And that's what I was gonna say. The cool part for me has been watching you go through that process. Like I'm a huge fan of stand-up, but watching someone go through and trying to prepare the set and trying to figure out it was very clear how quickly things can become not funny. It's like you hit gold with a concept, and then you tweak one word and it's like, you lost me.
Yeah, it is. There is that fine fucking line.
It's funny, and then it doesn't. It just doesn't have the payoff.
You're like, just slightly with like a tone, or like you wait like a half a breath. You know what I'm saying? Like there is like the sweet spot, and if you hit it, it's fucking golden. And if it's not, it's just like, oh, that was really fucking terrible. Well, I got to revise that and go back and see.
Yeah.
I still believe in the premise. Like there's something there. And that's kind of how I'm approaching it. It's like, there's just funny shit that happens every single day in life. And so I'm just trying to like capture those moments and then see what else is funny. And like, it's relatable,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Zach, you're new to this device.
Oh.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, so now I just keep it over here.
We can still hear it.
I know, right? It's fucking weird.
Sounds like Tweety's charger.
I'm not in frame. Like I know I'm not in frame over here.
Really? Okay.
Frame ends right here, so I might be like halfway. Like it's just like a half cut. Like you just smoke, just like the sides. It's like a fog machine, bro.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's been pretty interesting though. So last week, there's been a few key things that I've experienced because we've been going to the club. I've been trying to familiarize myself with the environment, right? So Wednesday,
you didn't tell me that.
Wednesday nights, we've been going every Wednesday. I've been meeting up with Mike. He's kind of, my liaison or my Sherpa or
See, I knew you had been meeting up with Mike. I didn't know you had actually been going to the club.
Yeah. So I'm trying to so last week I went up, I met some of the comics down there, was just kind of, chopping it up with them and just kind of getting a feel for it.
Yeah.
They kind of took me.
Get yourself into the world.
They took me up, introduced me to everybody backstage, and it was pretty cool. And there was two dudes that have been doing it. Like one dude had been doing it for 10 years. He had a lot of confidence, right?
Yeah.
And you know, he was just like had a lot of enthusiasm behind him. And he was like an old biker guy. And it was crazy to see him. He's like giving me all this advice, right? About like what I'm literally wearing everything he says not to do, right? He's like, well, you don't want to have shorts on and you don't want to have sandals on. I'm rocking Crocs and some shorts and I got like a vest on, right?
I've
and I'm like,
heard,
so I'm breaking all the rules right now.
I've heard all those rules about stand up, and I'm like, why the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, how many people you think told Bert Kreischer to not take his shirt off?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably a fuck ton.
Yeah.
Probably a fuck ton. I know at least one because he's talked about it. I can imagine that, like, when he thought of that idea and started bringing it up to people, like, no,
Yeah.
no, dude, you can't do that. And, like, don't wear shorts, don't wear sandals.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. How about I wear whatever the fuck I
That's
want?
how I feel about it, honestly. And so he's like button-up shirt. He's wearing black jeans, right? And then he's telling me how he's a biker. He was like a biker, and he used to come in, and he was like this and that. And he's like this big fucking dude. And then he goes on stage, right? And fucking eats shit. Like completely dive bombs, right? And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, and it didn't feel genuine. Like, I feel like if he would have just been him, like whoever he is, right? Whatever. But he was like trying to put himself in a box.
Well,
And
clearly he
that-
was talking to you about the rules. He's like, these are the rules.
Yeah,
I feel like you're missing the point.
I fucking felt like, man, like you're trying to
Like,
be
is
something.
there
Like he has an
rules?
image in his head of what he's trying to be, and I was like, that's kind of what I was doing as
Yeah.
well, right? And I was like, I can't fucking do that. I can't come from that fucking angle. Like I have to come from my own. It has to be genuine. Like I don't want to be up there with a script trying to fucking, you know, it's like my mannerism. Everything has to come natural. Right, and I feel like for me, opening with a premise and just allowing myself to explore and expand on that,
Well-
and just see where it goes. Because I have, like I said, I have bullet points. I have a general idea of where it can go. Right?
Well, I was listening
So-
to Rogan today, and I forget. He was on the new Two Bears.
Oh,
Came
okay.
out today.
Okay.
Had Rogan on it with Segura.
Okay, I'll
and
have
it
to
was,
listen.
It was it was a good one. And he was talking about when Joey Diaz got his like break when he figured out like how to be funny on stage, because he was always like the funniest guy in the parking lot, as they
Yeah.
put it. But figuring out how to put that naturally into the stage was a challenge. And once he figured out how to just be the same person and not give a fuck, and fuck you cocksucker, that shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then it just went. And I feel like that just has to be what it is. If you try too hard, it's not gonna be genuine.
So last week when we went up, I'm talking to another guy outside before we even went in. Right? There's one of the guys like a regular. I don't know the other two guys. The other guy said he's only been doing it a couple months, and so I'm talking to them, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool, come on." He's like, brought me inside, and he's like, "Yeah, here's the bucket. Why don't you just sign up and put?" I'm like, "You motherfucker," right? But he's like really confident, and he knows everybody there, and he kind of like took me around, and he was the guy, right? Then he's telling me how he's going up like 3 times a night, 5 times a week, right? He's like fucking dedicated
Yeah.
to this shit. And then I watched him go on stage. The other guy, the big burly guy, he just wept. He just melted. He just turned into like from this big, strong, powerful guy. He just was kind of like, oh, it was weird to just see him wilt. It was sad, kind of. And I was like, I don't want to be that.
You're like, I don't
You know
want
what I'm
to.
saying?
I don't want to give people sadness.
Yeah. And so then the
You
other
ever
guy
come to a
goes up.
comedy show to be sad?
The other guy goes up and literally just bombs the entire. Nothing landed at all. He was just coming from an angle that, like, it was so uncomfortable. Like, I had to like walk away because I just felt so bad for the homie. I was like, dude, he's trying so hard and he's so dedicated to this, and it's so not working for him.
Or you might have just caught him on a bad night.
Nah, I've
Or-
seen him before, and he did all right. But I just had to take all that in.
Well, sometimes you got to think, and I think about this a lot with the hustle culture.
Okay.
Especially
okay.
like people being like, fucking grind all the time. I get up, I wake up, I breathe, sleep, dominate. That's it. Fucking, ugh.
I feel like I've been living that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, but not, instead of focusing on like where you're working or what you're working or even why you're working that hard for it, you're just working and going through the actions. So like there's a certain level of I think where it's like, well, it's almost like diminishing returns. It's like
doing some work. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
where does it tip from like the hustle and the good grind of where you're getting the experience, you're getting it worth it and everything, to where you're just fucking overdoing it? Because I feel like
Oh, I almost died 3 times yesterday.
three
seriously.
times a night, 5 days a week, and not doing great. Maybe take a night off and just write.
Oh yeah, you're
know?
talking about like that guy in the
Yeah,
comedy.
well, because like it's and it's with other shit too. Like hustle with work and everything. It's like at a certain point, like you hear Gary V's like, you always got more time, content. Fucking yeah. So much fucking time. That shit.
So the biggest thing that I've learned is like I'm trying not to like hype it up in my head, like because I had it like built up in my head
As this large thing.
These are fucking strangers, and this is a practice.
Yeah.
Right, so like I'm not going up there and performing a finished thing.
You're not doing
going
a
up there-
special.
and that's how I was approaching it from the beginning. It was like I was trying to polish everything and get my,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I got to figure out what of this I can compile together and then work on linking that shit. But some of it lends itself naturally. Like I have some of it, like I feel like I could really go in on some of that material and continue expanding on it and put together like a full 10. I think I can put together a full 10 minutes. I think I have enough material now because I've just been slaving on it for.
I can't wait till the next podcast. The next podcast is going to be great because it'll be after you've done it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm just looking forward to the phone call afterwards.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna have clips because Mike's gonna record and shit.
Fuck yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, that and listening to Louis C.K. and talking about how like he bombed the first 3 times and it was just like miserable and just like. But think about. Like,
you ever heard Chappelle talk about it?
It's a practice. That was it. I just had to have to think about it like this. And I'm talking to him and like everybody wants to come. Lisa wants to come, right? But I'm kind of like. I don't know if I want everybody there.
How about
for
everyone
the first time
stays at home? I feel the same way. I have
like,
that
let me get up there first,
Yeah,
and I
we
was
were
trying to give an analogy about like the butterfly knife.